Dino Brown Boxing, and I'm back in the building. Shout out to the LDBC. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. All right, man. So I just read this article on Boxing Scene, and it's basically Erickson Lubin. He stated in the article that he want to fight Tony Harrison. Tony Harrison has 24 hours to give him an answer. Now, looking at things from just a fan's perspective, it's a good fight. It's a fight that I would love to see, but this whole thing is just odd. The timing is off. The 24 hours deadline is just weird to me. And I said it because, one, right now, boxing, nothing is going on. I mean, you having those little one-off fights in other countries outside of the U.S. and outside of the U.K., but in America, nothing is going on. PBC, they're not putting on any events. So what's the purpose of a 24-hour deadline to have any type of communications or discussions? That really doesn't make sense to me. Now, the thing that has Erickson Lubin so heated, in an interview, Tony Harrison basically was asked about the possibilities of facing Erickson Lubin. And Tony Harrison's response was Erickson Lubin is not the type of fighter that he would get up for, basically like a motivating factor. And even though that is a fight that I would love to see, even though 154 is a division where all the smoke is brought and given, under the current circumstances, I understand where Tony Harrison is coming from. One, his last fight, he lost his WBC championship to a guy that he beat before. In my mind, Tony Harrison, he want to be a champion again. And in Tony Harrison's mind, he's looking at it like, I've been a champion before. Me facing this young guy that I've gone a total of 22. Tony Harrison facing Erickson Lubin that got knocked out in the first round by Jamel Charlo, a guy that Tony Harrison went a total of 22 full rounds with, got a win over him, took his belt, but then also lost to him by knockout in the 11th round. I mean, if Tony Harrison is looking at that from the factual perspective, I understand why Erickson Lubin isn't necessarily on his radar from that perspective. Now, taking it a step further, is the timing is odd because Erickson Lubin mentioned the WBC rankings, that he's number one, and I believe that Tony Harrison is ranked about number 3 or 4. Tony Harrison's ranked number 3 by the WBC at 154. Okay, so Erickson, if you're interested in facing Tony and you feel like he disrespected you by saying that you're basically not at the caliber of the other guys in the division, despite the rankings, because we all know sanctioned and body rankings is complete bullshit. Because if that's the case, Erickson, I mean, if you look at the other rankings, you look at the IBF rankings, they're not in there. And if you look at the WBO rankings, I'm checking right now, you're not in there either. You're number 4 with the WBA. So basically, this is my point. Jamel Charlo, he wants to unify. Jason Rosario has a WBA and the IBF belt. And based off of the most recent interviews that I've seen regarding Jason Rosario, his next fight, he's not interested in facing Jamel Charlo. Erickson Lubin, you're ranked number 1 by the WBC. What's the purpose of backtracking to the guy that's ranked number 3? Why not just go at the champ? I mean, that part doesn't make sense, especially when going into this, especially going into the Jamel Charlo and Tony Harrison rematch. It was a lot of talks about Erickson Lubin facing the winner. I don't understand the purpose of backtracking now. But then on top of that, it's just the timing of it all. Tony Harrison lost his dad back in April 21st. As of today, it's March 5th. And I'm sure this man is still grieving. So just a call out at this point in time is bad timing. Now, I'm not going to leave out the fact that Erickson Lubin did pay respects to Tony Harrison's dad in the article. But at the same time, the timing of it all is extremely off to me. Now, like I said, it's a fight that I'm down to see. But my thing for Erickson Lubin, if you want to capture anyone's attention in your weight class, the weight class below or the weight class above, run it back with Jermell Charlo. He's literally the only man that's beating you. He stops you in the first round. That's some get back you have to. That's some get back that I feel like it's just a requirement for your career. You said it in the past that that's a fight that you want. Well, right now, Jermell Charlo wants to unify, and the WBA and the IBF champion is not ready to unify with him. This is the opportunity, because if he fucks around and get in a fight with Jason Rosario, he takes an L, or Jason Rosario has a rematch clause, Erickson Lubin, you're just going to be sitting around anyway. So you might as well go after the belt now. And then if you're able to avenge your loss to Jermell Charlo, and if you have to run it back and you're able to be successful again, if you still feel the need to shut up Tony Harrison because you feel like he disrespected you, then go after it then. But right now, you're ranked number 1. You build yourself back up. Tony Harrison fuck around and outbox you, and now you pissed off and you drop down again. I say, go for the belt now. That's just my take on it, guys. It's Nino Brown Boxing. Shout out to the LDBC, and I'm out.